Craig Budner, how are you?
I'm great, Mo. Great to see you.
Yeah.
Well, and to pull the thing that is so beautiful about our opportunity to clean out the closet. I mean, this pandemic does give us all an opportunity to focus on one thing at a time, a little more than most of us are used to. How many
Mhm.
times have we all been on a conference call and we're cleaning out our email inbox because we think we can do all these things at the same time? When you're on via a video link, people can tell when you're not paying attention. And I think it shames all of us to focus on one thing productively and not feel like we're accomplishing more with our multitasking world. And so it's also just kind of cool from a global perspective. When I get on these videos and I still get to see my colleagues from Australia and Asia and Europe and, hear different accents and hear you know, different observations about how the pandemic. Australia is dealing with this situation. It's starting to catch up to the United States, but it's dealt with it in a very different way than the United States has or China has. They have a different perspective on it, and Europe is different also because it's so dense. Um, so it's interesting, even to just hear those observations. It kind of reminds us that we're still connected. And it reminds us kind of, okay, well, if I'm calling a client in Europe, I've just heard from my colleague in Europe, and I can now maybe be better at
Mm.
having that conversation than I was if I just assumed I knew what it felt like to be in Paris right now. I don't really know what it feels like to be in Paris right now in a lockdown, in a stay at home. What would that be
Right,
like with no cafes?
right,
You know?
right. And that personal story you can share from Pierre, whoever you talk to there, like so powerful. Um, you know, as I look back on this conversation, I took away a bunch of things. I'm going to ask you what you took away in just a second. Um, but this idea of the world changing so quickly that there's going to be more than normal for the period of time we're in this, there's going to be bigger winners and bigger losers. And I think that was really important strategically. Your comments around connecting personally, professional, focusing on getting people on video conferences, reaching out to a smaller subset of very important people, and being very proactive about it. That was important to me. Love the idea of give to get to start to talk about the commercial relationship and the Brady Bunch approach. I love it. Whatever mechanism we can use to get a group focused on business development will help everybody rise up to a higher level of proficiency and proactiveness and activity than we would get normally. So as I think back to relationships, opportunities, and habits, those are the sort of the things that pull through for me as really, really big learnings. What are you taking away from this?
I during this crisis, I come back to a story I may have shared with you, or we may have shared a stage or something where I told this story, but it was about my mom and dad founded a daycare facility for homeless children in Dallas, and um, I wanted to get involved because I was a young lawyer in Dallas, and I wanted some business development opportunities, and they basically said, no, this isn't a family organization, you have to earn it. And so they made me earn it. So my dad said, well, why don't you go raise some money for the organization? And I tried and didn't
How
really
old are
like.
you at this point?
I'm probably 26,
Oh, this is
26.
great. Okay, keep going. So it's not like
So
it was last month.
no, it was not last month. In some ways, it'd be nice to see them again like that, but it wasn't. So how do I do this? And I went to my dad. I said, Dad, I have a hard time bothering people to, you know, raise money and ask them for things. And he said, son, he had a very deep Texas accent. He said, son, I think you're thinking about it the wrong way. He said, if you can introduce someone to a wonderful organization that is helping some of the most vulnerable people in the world, homeless children, get good facilities so that they can be in a position to grow and learn. And they don't choose to do it, that's okay. Everyone has priorities in charitable giving, but just the process of educating them and connecting with them and sharing that experience with them will be a very positive one for you. And I think what I took out of today's conversation is that, Mo, that, you know, act like nobody's watching. When you respond in a crisis like this, and your focus is trying to understand the lens through which your clients are experiencing this craziness that we're all going through, let them see you act the way you want them to think of you going forward. And if you can plant that flag, which you do so well, and the system is really, the snowball system is worth a reread. And you didn't ask me to plug anything. This is just what I'm thinking. It's worth a reread in the context of this, because so many of the things that you teach are exactly what you do in a crisis like this. This is exactly the time to think of being productive, to make your relationships step up. And when you're doing something you're passionate about, helping others, you've found that why that it comes through when you communicate. So that's the big overarching lesson that I took from this. Connect with people and act like no one's looking. Get down to your base sense of who you are, and show people that really what you want to do is just be helpful. That's really it. And then the practical steps on the way to show that.
Gosh, you actually gave me goosebumps. I think
Thank you.
It's funny how when times are tough, that the fundamentals matter even more. And I loved your comments on that. This is about executing on the fundamentals of who we are, and just, if we can just run around and be helpful to people in a very strategic way, but just show people who we are, then good things are going to happen. So Craig, I look up to you so much. Every time we're together, I learn something. I just think you're just a wonderful person. You're so focused on your family. You're so focused on doing everything you can to grow a massive global organization of really smart people. And I just can't thank you enough for being on the phone or on the video conference today. I think the world needs inspiring right now. You inspire me, and I can't wait to share this to the world so you can inspire others.
Well, Mo, thank you. This was a real honor, and I feel the exact same about you. We share a lot of values, and I hope that people, find some nuggets to take away from this and enjoy being a part of this conversation. I sure have. So thank you for suggesting it. You're a bright light in a time where people need more bright lights.
Yeah, you're the sun. You're as hot as the sun. All right. Well, I'm going to cut off our recording, and I can't thank you enough.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. For more content like this, check out my most recent video, and be sure to like them so other people can find out.